Never really sat down to talk about this topic. How is family life in China? If you are considering raising a family in China, it has its good and its bad. Hey EJ fam, what's good, what's popping? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So this is a really quick video that I got inspired to shoot because of a question that I just received on my YouTube channel on one of my very old videos. And I'm like, all this while I've been vlogging about family life in China, but I've never really sat down to talk about this topic. You guys probably already know from the title. Her question read, how is family life in China? And I know that, or maybe through my vlogs and some of my videos, I have probably talked about it in bits and parts, but I've never really made a sit-down video to coherently tell you guys what to expect and things like that. And I don't even think that I can cover all of it in this one video, but I will talk about as much as I can, and then if there is need for it, I will make subsequent videos about it. If you are considering raising a family in China, it has its good and its bad, okay? Definitely, which is like the situation with almost everywhere in the world. Should we talk about the pros or the cons first? What do you guys think? Okay, let's start with the pros. Both having a baby in China and raising a family in China is that, of course, we all know that China, they are like one of the best when it comes to technology and things like that, safety, value for life and things like that. So if you are pregnant in China or you're having a baby in China, you can be rest assured that you are in good hands. The mortality rate here in China is like very minimal. You will most likely be taken care of by your doctor, and you will have a safe delivery. You will have your baby. Everything is going to be fine. So that's like one of the aspects of it, like the technology, the fact that they are ahead in most things. It just makes it very safe and it gives you peace. Secondly, when it comes to like education, now this education, it has both the positives and the negatives. So we're talking about the pros right now, so I'll talk about the positives. For your child to go to school in China, I think it's really a great thing because it will expose the child to, number one, the Chinese language. Well, that is if you send your child to a public school. And if your child does not go to a public school, a Chinese public school, and they go to an international school, I feel like because of the multicultural, diversity in China, whereby there are people from like almost every part of the world, your child will have that exposure to like multiple cultures, and it really will help them build their social life and things like that. Also, we know that the quality of education in China is top notch. Well, if you don't know, I'm now telling you. Like both from kindergarten, my child now does go to kindergarten, and I see the things that they do, and I'm just like, okay. I wasn't able to experience some of these things growing up in Nigeria or going to school in Nigeria, so I'm really glad that she's enjoying it because they have like so many things that they learn from. It's a really well thought out, pattern of teaching and pattern of education here in China. So that's also something that your child will enjoy if they go to school here. Another pro would be, let's say, with regards to like societal values. I know that the reason some people are skeptical about moving to the West these days is because of some of the values that they tend to propagate, which a lot of people, especially people with families, people with kids, they're not really a fan of, right? So I think here in China, it is very minimal when it comes to all these foreign ideas that are not really natural. The way the West is pushing it, teach the history of, teach this, teach that in school, allow the child from 13, you can do this, you can change your sex, you can do this, you can do that, things like that are very they're very minimal here in China. I'm not saying that there are no people like that here, but I'm just saying that they don't push it in your face and in the face of your children, okay? Everybody just keeps it on a very low, level. Exactly. So that's also something that you might want to consider if you want your child to be free from these kind of ideas. Let's talk about some of the cons of raising a family here in China. First of all, money. You guys, raising a family in China is not cheap. Okay, it is not cheap, and I also mentioned it to the lady who left a comment on my video. It is not cheap at all raising a family in China. However, I do think that if you are working in China, or maybe you and your spouse, you're working, or maybe just even one person is working and one person is schooling, you can make it work, because the salary rates and, you know, income for foreigners in China is also quite good. So if you're someone who has a job, then it wouldn't really be a problem. But if you're a student, like if both of you are students, then you might have it tough, because you guys already know by now that it is illegal to work in China on a student visa. So the best you can do is maybe you're doing business on the side, or some side hustle that doesn't really go against the law. That's just what you have to do to be able to support yourself and your family. When my husband and I were both students, we we had our fair share, okay, of struggling to, and at the time we had just one kid, okay. So if you're planning to have like 2 kids, or if you already have like more than 1 children, that's even like much more money. Because I know that some of the people that are interested in these videos about family life in China already have their kids back in their home country, and they want to move here, you know, to maybe to rejoin their spouse or just to start life here. If you have more than 1 kid, that's like more expenses, obviously. So, but like I said, if you have a job that pays well, yes, you can do it. So yeah, that's like one con. It's like really expensive, and that is why even the Chinese themselves, they don't like to have like more than 1 or 2 children, at most 2. Okay, I mean, now their government is like encouraging them to have more children, but they're not having it, they're not taking it. They're like, okay, if I have the kids, are you gonna raise them for me? Are you gonna train them for me? But education, but the giving birth itself is not very cheap. Then education, like training up those kids from like kindergarten, primary school, although I think primary school is free, probably public primary school is free, but a lot of the times, if like the parents want their kids to go to like the good schools, and those ones are like private schools, and you have to pay money for it. Not to say the public schools aren't good. You guys shall get what I mean. Okay, now another con I think would be, if you are moving to China and you're bringing your kids from outside China and they are already grown, let's say already up to 7, 8, 9, 10, it's going to be quite difficult, you know, finding a public school to enroll them into. If you're working as an English teacher in an international school, then that will be easy, because you just easily enroll them in your school, in the school where you're teaching. If you can afford international school in China as an expat, then you would have no issues with education, regardless of your child's age. You just put them in an international school where they teach in English, and your child will be able to flow. But if your child doesn't know like any Chinese before coming to China, and you're trying to enroll them in the public schools, a lot of the schools will refuse. Okay, I've had conversations with a lot of moms here in China, and I've had people who told me, oh, you know, they went to register their child in the kindergarten, and the kindergarten was like, oh, the child doesn't know Chinese, how we can't communicate with the child, we can't, you know, it's going to be a problem, mafan, the way they will say. And so they rather just not deal with it, and they will ask you to take the child to an international school. But if you're not working in that international school and get some sort of discount for your child's school fees, let's just say it's going to be a lot of money. You might even be working, but you'll be using like the whole of your salary to pay that child's school fees for the child to go to school, which at the end of the day does not even make any sense. So what most people do is that they just move here and they leave their kids back at home, and you know, they just work and make money and then send money to people back home to take care of the kids, which is also another option if, you know, if it's your cup of tea. But not everybody can do it. Not everybody wants to be away from their children, but I mean, sometimes situations call for it, and it is what it is at the end of the day. Another con that I have from my interactions with moms here in China is the fact that sometimes the social life is not really balanced for the kids, right? The social life is not really social because a lot of the times you might just be the only foreigner in your vicinity, and you're just surrounded by Chinese people, and if you or your child are not fluent in Chinese, it's very difficult for you to make friends with the locals, because I mean, they don't want to talk to you because they can't speak English. You don't want to talk to them because you can't speak Chinese, except you have like a community of foreigners around you. Your child or your children may not have other kids their age to play with and socialize with. And a lot of times we just have situations whereby kids are indoors from morning till night, just, you know, watching TV or playing on their tab and things like that. And we all know that, you know, that's not the way for kids to develop socially in 2024, right? I mean, we've had COVID years and we all know what it did to us psychologically. So a lot of people right now are looking to connect more with people, go out there. But I mean, if you can't even speak Chinese, you can't, like, the basic tool for communication is language, right? And if your language proficiency is not enough to communicate with them, problem. I think that's a really big one for most parents, because I mean, you would like your child to have a social life, but it's not really the case here in China. You might have to go out of your way to be able to find other foreign moms or people that are in your city, you know, that also have kids your age, you know, to set up a play date and hang out and things like that. And because life in China is already very busy, I mean, if you're working here, you know you know what the schedule is like. It's even tougher, okay, to be able to now connect with people and set up these dates where, you know, you can have time to hang out and things like that. It's really just a tricky situation. So of course, the cons of raising kids or raising a family in China will not be complete if we don't talk about the R word, which is also something that exists in China, right? We've had experiences of where, you know, kids can, you know, experience this subtle racism from the local folks, and because they are kids and they don't really understand how these things work. At first, it might just be difficult to deal with. Like, you as the parent, you might not even know how to deal with it. As an adult, it might be easier because, oh, you already know that these people are just ignorant, so you brush it off your shoulder and you go on your way. But for kids, how do you explain to your child that, oh, you came to the playground where all other kids were playing for your child to play, and all of a sudden all the other kids are leaving one by one, like everybody disappears and it's just you and the child? How do you begin to explain to that child that, okay, they probably had to go home and do something? Are you gonna lie? Are you gonna tell the truth? How are you going to deal with such situations? So this is also something that a lot of moms have complained about. I think it's worse for some people than some. Maybe if you're living in a place where they have like very few foreigners, and you know, they haven't really seen a lot of black people, especially for people of color, and they haven't really seen a lot of black people before, it's going to be like, you're going to have those experiences more often than not. I think for the most part, a lot of moms, a lot of people who are raising families in China have found the way around it, and which is, it's not even far from the experiences of, you know, families like in the US or in other countries where they also experience racism. You just have to groom your child to teach them that, oh, it's not them, like, it's not the child, it's the people, right? It's the people who are doing it. They're ignorant or whatnot. Honestly, people just find the way around it, but it is something that is there and that you guys need to be aware of, right? So you just have to get the right tools to handle such situations when it does pop up. I'm trying to keep this video short, so I'm going to end it here. As I continue living in China and raising my family in China, if there are other pros that I come across or other cons that I come across, I will definitely make a follow-up video to share with you guys. So if you would like to be abreast of these upcoming experiences, then please subscribe to the channel. I do make videos about family life in China, studying in China, working in China, all that good stuff. So if you like to get more videos about this, you can check my channel. I have tons of videos that are already up that, you know, will help you actually if you are planning to move to China, or you're already in China, or you're new in China. Whatever level you are now, I have a video for you. Okay, trust me, just go through my channel, binge watch my videos, subscribe to the channel, and give this particular video a thumbs up so that, you know, YouTube will feel like, oh, okay, there is value in this video, and promote it to other parents, other people who are trying to move to China, who are searching for videos like this. Like, you will be doing the Lord's work basically. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned up to this time, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.